Good morning, everyone. Good morning. Good to see everybody here this morning. Yeah, good morning. Good morning. All right, today I have to say congratulations. Congratulations and jubilations. La 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 la. Well done. We've officially come to our final call in the series of 6. This is it. For those of you who have completed all 7 accountabilities, make sure you drop me an email at angie@timeequalsmoney.net.au so I can pay you your $100. Congratulations. Wonderful. I'm really, really proud of you. Yep, I've got some messages coming through. Yay, it's finished, it's over. Remember, we are still at the beginning, so don't get too excited. For those of you who have finished, share your success on Facebook. Encourage others to finish too. Share what you've noticed since starting the program. Share your biggest takeaways. Basically, just share. Sharing really helps others to stay motivated and to keep them motivated, because the message taken is that if you can do it, then I can do it too. So for those of you who are not there yet, it's time to take stock and power home, which, as you know, was what this module was all about. And as soon as you're done, regardless of how long it takes you, let me know you're done and I'll get you that payment, right? I want you to finish. But don't let it drag on forever. And that's not for me. I couldn't care less when you finish, as long as you finish. But don't let it drag on forever for you, because the longer it takes you, the more chance you have of going back to your own ways, all right? We've got to finish the project and then move on to the next. So, as I said, today is officially our last call, but as you know, we do have a couple of bonus calls for you that I'll be delivering over the next couple of weeks. And you're very welcome to join me on those calls, but if you can't, of course, they will be recorded and will be sent out to you. And I also want to say a special thank you today to all of you for being so patient with me. I have family over from Sydney and from Bosnia at the moment, and tomorrow is a pupil-free day, which I didn't know about until last week. So I really sincerely appreciate your flexibility and your kindness in letting me move this a day forward. So let's get on with it, because today is probably going to be a short-ish call. It's probably not going to take an hour, which is awesome. I know we love getting off and getting on with what we've got to do. But today's call is about Module 6, which was all about reviewing and celebrating. This module was about the principles of measurable success. And if you remember the last call, one of the key messages was to inspect what you do, because you get what you inspect. And this module is all about systemizing the review process so that you can continue to continuously improve, make life easier, streamline your process, automate templates, and grow. You know, it's all about freeing up time for you so you can get on to more important stuff. And that could be work that pays you, and it also could be like personal stuff that's important to you, things that you want to get on with in life, you know, your bucket list, as they say. Bit of housekeeping, next call will be Friday next week at 10 a.m. The date on that next Friday is the 7th of November. Lordy, lordy, can you believe that? Christmas decorations are out, and Christmas is literally around the corner. And then want to think about it, let's just focus on what we're doing here today, shall we? So in Module 6, we covered how to find your highest leverage activities, the success build success model, and the reset process, the 75% mark. Got a comment coming through right this second. One second, let me just read it. So the comment is, I felt like screaming when I heard I was at the 75% mark. Look, I totally understand, and I imagine that you did, but you understand why, don't you? Why you're at the 75% mark? Because up until this point, you know we've been laying the foundation, and now you're at the cliff face. You can either soar or you can plummet back to where you were. So it's critical at this point that you continue with the process till you bed them down and that you're doing them automatically. It becomes just the way you work. Otherwise, all of these weeks and all of this effort has been for nothing, and we definitely don't want it to be for nothing. So today I'm going to be letting you know how you can make bedding down the system that you've learned over the last 6-7 weeks into everyday life. But for now, let's answer the questions that came through the survey. So, survey questions. First, as always, if you have a question that you want answered, type it in. If you're not on the call, you're listening to this call later and you have a question, please make sure you email it to me, okay? I will answer your questions. All right. Let's get on to question 1. Is there a simple process to break a project down into all the steps? That was the question. And the answer is yes. And I'm glad that this question was asked because it leads me into one of the things that I really wanted to make sure we covered today. The process that I'm going to be suggesting to you is a process called mind mapping. And the term mind mapping was first made popular by British pop psychologist, author and television personality Tony Buzan. And he made it popular back in 1974, but the practice of drawing or using diagrams to visually map out information traces back to the 3rd century, so it's nothing new. But it was made popular just back in 74. God, that doesn't even sound that long ago. It probably is if you're born in the 2000s, but not if you're born when I was born anyway. So this is what a mind map looks like. And what I'll do is I will put a screenshot of this. I'll send it to you with the email that goes out. Mind map. But let me take you through the mind mapping process, okay? So this, by the way, just also to say that this diagram here gives you the process, and in its traditional form. I'm not as traditional when I do my mind maps as this. I don't make lines thicker. I don't use pictures instead. I just brain dump, basically. Mind maps are fantastic tools for all different types of personalities. If you are a detailed person, you get all the details that you need. If you're a big picture, flowing ideas, flowing person, then it enables you to skip from one idea and freely associate rather than having to go in a linear fashion, step 1, step 2, step 3. And also normally when we do go in a linear fashion, we leave steps out. So mind maps give us a way to get it all out and to sufficiently consider what needs to happen. Now, there are many tools that you can use, electronic tools you can use to mind map. And the beauty of that is that once you've done it electronically, you can save it, and then you can use that as a template for any future projects that are of a similar nature. And all you do is just cut out the aspects that don't belong to the new project, but at least it's sufficiently considered. So they're very good tools to use. And I'll include a tool, but I don't use any tools. I just use a paper and pen. I find when I want to think creatively, I need to have a pen in my hand. Everybody's different. As I say, there are lots of ways to be right. But sometimes when I do a mind map that I know I'm going to be doing that sort of work over and over again, I do get my VA to actually template it for me into in an electronic version, so I do not have to do it or rethink anything again, and also so I can outsource it if I need to. Just a tip. All right, so let's get on to how to mind map. So, and what I thought I'd do also is I'd do a mind map with you. So let me just go through the steps first, and then I'll take you through the steps. So the steps are as follows. You write the central idea in the middle of the page. So here it was, how to mind map. Add your ideas in single words as branches to your central idea or goal. Oops. If they are a main idea, write them in capital letters or circle them or highlight them. You know, just basically all you want to do is make them stand out in some way. So if we go back to the diagram, you can see that style, structure, lines, these were the main ideas, and then they had the other ideas branching off them. Use the main ideas as inspiration to make associations and connections. Draw smaller branches stemming from your main keywords. These will be the associated ideas. Continue this mind mapping process until you've exhausted all your ideas. Then decide basically what to do first, second, third. So number the activities using multiples of 10. And I'll go through this when I do the example. Time out how long each step's going to take you. If the activity involves others, okay, so there needs to be a bit of an apostrophe there so you know what I'm talking about. Oh, what have I done? Sorry about that. If the activity involves others, factor this into the estimation for time. Allocate dates to each step. If your project has an end date, you want to work backwards from the last step to the first step. And if it has no end date, then work forwards and it'll give you your start and end date. Then you need to transfer your mind map over to a Gantt chart or a project plan of some sort and save this project plan or Gantt chart if you're doing the same or similar sort of work in the future so that you've got a template of the process. So let me take you through a mind map so that you can see the process in action. All right, so I've got a pen. Let me get it into a color that we can easily see. All right, so just say actually, does anybody have a project that they, as an example, that they want to implement? Something that's easy. All right, type them in if you could. Alrighty. Lots of projects here. Okay, look, writing a book is pretty easy. I can see someone wants to do that. I've written a book, so let me tackle that one. I'll do it on screen for you. Alrighty, so in the center we write the goal, right? Book. All right. From the central theme, we want to brainstorm all the things that need to happen to write a book. So we need to, we need to market the book eventually. It's not the first thing that you do, obviously, or it could be. It might be where you start, but it's definitely one thing you need to do. We need to decide on title. Oh, sorry about this writing. On title. Should have probably just written title. All right. We need to get it published or printed. if you're going to self-publish. We need to write the book, of course. Content, okay. But we need to do the graphics, front cover, the back cover, if there are any layouts. Actually, that's another one, isn't it? You know what I'm talking about, don't you? Graphics. Layout. Which is formatting and proofing. All right, so there's sort of the main steps that we need to basically do. All right, so with the writing of the content, we need to basically, we might, first we need to decide what content. So what? And from that we might survey our list for ideas. We might go to Amazon for ideas. So do you see how one central idea actually gave us a sub-idea, which gave us sub-ideas? Ask for feedback. We might do a brain dump, mind map. Get it? All right. And we probably need a template of some sort, like what should be in a good book? How is a good book laid out? What normal content is there? We need a table of contents, We need to decide on pages, how many, that'll tell us how many per chapter maybe. We need to decide on chapter titles. We need to decide on a writing schedule, how many pages per day or we're going to write. So you get the idea. So because it's so painful for me to use this, I'm going to not go through every single one. But you get the idea, one central idea. One central idea then gives you your sub-ideas, which then give you even more sub-ideas. And you do that for each of these. So with marketing, you might have, social media might be one thing that you do. You're maybe even asking a few people to promote you might be another thing. So you've got your ideas for marketing, and for each of those there'll be different steps. Each of those will be a mini project, I imagine. Deciding on your title, how might you do that? You might go to check Amazon, you might get feedback, you might get, so you might go Amazon first, you might go Fiverr second to just get some ideas, you might decide on ideas, and then you might get feedback on Facebook for people's preferences, and then you put it all together. Publishing and printing, you might find a printer, you might go to create space for Amazon, you might Google So they're each main main subcategory will have, you know, different things. Then of course you need to decide what's first, what's second, what's third. So I would say deciding on the content is probably maybe first. People will probably argue that and say marketing's probably first. Probably the launching of the book is probably first. I tend to say that's sort of halfway through actually, or maybe closer towards the end that would kick in. So we've got one, writing the book is definitely first. Two would be probably proofing the book. Deciding on a title is at the same time as, you know, doing all this. You could do them probably together, but that might be fourth. Could it be even equal first? But that usually does evolve, I would say. Probably third mostly. Two. Oh my God, so sorry about this. So 1, 2, 3. The graphics, 4, 5, 6. Probably something like that. Then you would time out. So what are actually the steps that you need to be doing? So if this is so remember I said multiples of 10. So we've got 10, 20. 30, 40. Oh my God, I've made a mess of this. 50. Right. And then each of these steps would have like, okay, so from here it would be 11. That would be step 11. Maybe. And page chapter would probably go in there. So let's say that's 12. And with this one you might have, so 20, so 21, 22, 23, 24. If something comes before it or after it. So the reason why we do multiples of 10 is so that if you leave something out, you don't have to scribble everything out and start again, or do 1B, 1C, 1D. You just do either before the 10 or 20, whatever the number is, or after, depending on where that step actually fits in. When you're timing it out, make sure you factor in that this task or projects are usually done in and around other things. They're usually done part-time, and they're not usually done on their own. They're usually done with many other projects that are on the go at the same time. So make sure you factor that in. So for example, it might take me an hour to look at Amazon and just get some ideas for names for books. And if I put the job on Fiverr and the particular person I want to do the work, it might only take them an hour to come up with some ideas. However, they've got 4 other jobs scheduled in front of me, so it's going to take 3 days. So all of a sudden, a job that would take an hour now is taking 3 days. So you've got to factor in other people's workloads. So there's 2 timings. It's the timing of how long the actual job takes you to do, which might be an hour, and then how long the job takes you to do when there are other people involved and other workload involved, right? So make sure you always factor those 2 timings. And then once you've done that, you put the dates in. Once you've put the dates in, you transfer it. So let me get back to my normal. on drawing mode. You transfer it to your project planner and you enter it into the right week. And then you keep your project planner handy when you're actually planning week by week. So you get the next step into your calendar. So that's the way, that's a very simple way to actually map out what needs to get done. What needs to get done in a project, to think it out thoroughly, and a very effective way. So give mind mapping a go. I use mind mapping for everything. When I'm thinking, it's just the tool I use, and then I put it into order using the project planner, like what I'm going to do on what week. All right, next one. Do you review every week? Do you review like you say in the module? Now, you are either going to think that I've got lots of time on my hands, or you're going to think I'm absolutely mad. But let me tell you my reviewing process. Now, I love reviewing probably as much as I love goal setting, because it gives me a chance to learn from the day and to translate and to take the learnings from whatever has happened, basically. That's probably the main bit. And also for me to notice how far I'm coming, to notice how far I've gone, what I've actually accomplished. And that's very important, I think, for particularly solopreneur. Actually, it's important for everybody, because you don't get a lot of recognition for what you do. Sometimes you can be in your little silo, very isolated, working away. So it's good to reflect on how far you've come. So let me tell you my reviewing processes. So every night before I go to bed, usually Monday to Thursdays, I review and I read. That's my typical thing before I go to bed. So I get the kids to bed, and then I review basically what I've learnt, what successes I've had that day, how I'm aligning to my goals, like what evidence can I actually see that I'm moving towards my goals, how grateful I am for the different things in my life. And I also usually give my subconscious a little job to work on. So just 2 to 3 points, 3 to 5 points on each. Sometimes I only might write one thing, nothing major, nothing difficult. I don't want it to be difficult, because then I stop. But it just downloads and helps me process the day positively. It gets me to focus on or translate things into positives, into learnings. It gives me patience when things aren't, when I feel like it's not going to plan. So it just redirects my attention to what did go to plan, how much progress did I make, rather than that continual feeling of frustration, overwhelm, or pushing. The review also, it cements in my psyche, I think into the very core of me, that I'm capable and skilled at what I do, and it helps integrate what I've experienced in the day. It helps me turn, as I said, those negative things into positives, because it's all just feedback, isn't it? So what did I learn from what's happened in the day? And it's this foundational, this activity, I think, that gives me resilience and flexibility. I'm probably getting a bit deep for you all here at 9:30 in the morning, or whatever time it is. But I love reviewing nightly. I love just processing what's actually happened. What have I learnt? How have I grown today, I suppose? So at the end of the week, so that's daily, but just Monday to Thursdays. Fridays, we normally are out in the evening, and Saturday, Sundays generally family time, and we're out. So I don't try to make it hard for myself. There's lots of ways to be right. I can't stop saying that. On a weekly basis, At the end of the week, I review where I'm at with my projects. What's next? Am I on track? Am I ahead? Am I behind? Do I need to clear the decks to drive a project to closure? Or is everything just chugging along nicely? You know, I love the discoveries I make about myself. So, for example, I didn't stick to my Serbian online course. I gave it a go, but I knew it wasn't actually sinking in. I've come to the conclusion that I don't like learning a language that way. So I found a class which is also online, but it's actually with real people, and it's at a set time, on a set day every week. It's twice a week, so I don't want to commit to that at the moment. I want to commit to that next year, so I'm going to start next year. But I think what's made it even more important for me to get it done is that my husband's auntie and uncle are here from Serbia, from Bosnia at the moment, and they don't speak English as easily as, so we can't have great conversations, I suppose is what I'm saying, because my Serbian also is not up to the speed where I can easily converse with them. So it would have been wonderful to speak easier with them. So it's really given me a bit more impetus to actually get on and learn this next year. And I think doing the online course with other people is going to fast track me. Plus it's a weekly course, it's done twice a week, so, you know, time and a place, I have to be there. I think that works much better for me for learning a language. And we're hoping to also go overseas possibly next year, so that would fit perfectly. So it gives me even more. In fact, I probably should book our tickets. If I booked our tickets, it'll make me even do the course even more. So that's what happened there. So I learnt more about myself. Learning a language like that doesn't work for me. Right. So that's what I do weekly. But hang on, there is more. At the end of every quarter, I take stock and of the projects. You know, how far have I got with the projects? What's left to do? Where am I at? I review marketing. You know, how successful, especially if I've implemented a new sort of marketing, how successful was it? Could it have been done better? Was it worth the effort and the expense? And this type of reviewing, especially marketing, I love doing with a mentor, somebody who's better at it than me, somebody who can give me more ideas in the marketing world, because that's all they do. From here, I usually also, there's some tidy up work, some wrap up work, some closing of projects that I need to do, and I get that finished as well towards the end of the end of the month. Just as tidy ups, I make time to actually tidy up, to ferment, or I get my VA to do the templates, etc., and I walk her through what I want done. It does take time, and you learn over time how to start off on a better foot so that at the end tidy up is less. You know, it's not as much. But and you do that. Here's some simple tips. You keep everything that relates to a project together in the one place so that at the end you can review everything, template it, and get rid of what's unnecessary, especially with electronic documents. You know, you usually have lots of versions, lots of research info, lots of basically stuff that if you don't go through and cleanse, then it's not easy to get your hand on the next time you want to repeat the process. It does take probably a couple of hours to tidy up, but it actually saves you a lot of time in the future. And most people don't invest the time to do this. They just chug, you know, or speed along, and then, you know, they've gone too far and have to almost start again, or they don't know where You know, people are doing all their own things and reinventing the wheel instead of working from one set of documents that are updated and reviewed quarterly to 6 monthly. Lastly, I love reflecting at the end of the year. And my husband and I do this usually sitting in the spa. So we've got a spa in our backyard with a cocktail. We usually sit there and we review the year that was and our goals for the year that's coming. And I particularly love that review, as you can imagine. So hell yes, I review. I review and I love to review, and I'm not ashamed to say it. But let me put it this way. Do you think that McDonald's just implements ideas willy-nilly and moves on to the next idea without stopping and reviewing? Or do you think they test, they review, they streamline, and they systemize? I mean, they have millions of people working for them. You go in one McDonald's, it's the same as the other McDonald's, halfway across the world is exactly the same. Because they have millions of people working for them, they can't afford to carry a bit of fat, because that is actually extrapolates out into millions. If every person is doing something their own way, if every person is taking extra steps or unnecessary steps or taking the long way to do things, they can't afford to carry that fat, and they definitely don't carry the fat at all. We carry the fat for them. That's a different subject. Let's not get onto the McDonald's food issue. But the point is that they test anything that they put on their menu. They test in 1 or 2 shots before they roll it out across the world. When they test it, they review it. Kroc, I can't remember his first name, but the guy who basically systemized McDonald's and made it into the multi-million-dollar business that it is, that's what he was legendary for systemizing, for putting in place systems so that a 13, 15, 14-year-old can make in China would be making the same hamburger in Australia. So if they invest the time to review and reflect and to streamline, I definitely think you working on your own, if you want to expand, definitely you need to do the same. Elite sports stars that get paid millions, soccer players, football players, all of the sports, elite sports people, they review their progress. Tennis players, they review every minute aspect of their performance. Why? To improve. There's a process in that elite AFL players do to improve their performance. It's at the end of every game, each player tells another player, just one other player, what they should start doing, what they should stop doing, and what they should continue doing. This independent feedback helps the individual continue to improve and broaden and deepen their skills. It increases also their ability as working as a team, because you're getting feedback from a different perspective. You're finding out what your other players need from you. You might be blind to this. So it gives you an opportunity to improve. I actually thoroughly recommend the stop, start, keep process. And in fact, when I'm presenting workshops, I often ask people, what are you going to start doing? What are you going to stop doing? What are you going to keep doing? And I integrate that as part of the coaching process. So why is this process important? It reviews what happened, what was seen, not the excuses. It's not about excuses. A review process is not about why you didn't get to something. It's about what happened. It gets you to recognize key accomplishments, even little wins. What worked? Why did it work? This is the stuff that you need to continue with. When you look at what didn't work, what are you going to do differently? What might you stop doing? What's missing? What are you going to start doing? What are your next steps? Where to from here? Given all that feedback, where to from here? This is really the actual entire process. And you can ask these questions of yourself. It's about debriefing. This is really the debriefing process. So that was the last question that I had via the survey. There is one other thing I'd like to talk to you about today, and that's about how to make this program something that you live and breathe, how to make this program just the way you work, what to do from here now that you're at the 75% mark. So the best way to integrate this into your life, what you've done over the last 6-7 weeks, is to start applying it to day-to-day work. Now, I know you have been, but I mean to do it as a project. So what I'm going to suggest to you to do is this. I want you to decide on one project and apply what you've learned to getting that project done. So use the Impact Ease tool to decide on your project. Map out the steps using the mind map that we went through today. Then plan those steps, like when do you need to do what, in your calendar project planner. Weekly, use the project planner to plan. So when you stop to do your work allocation spreadsheet, get out your project planners, get out your Miracle Millionaire planner, and decide what's going to get done this week. Schedule what you need to get done in your calendar. Make sure you break them down into small steps. If you would like to pinpoint what project to do, as you know, as a bonus for buying this program, you have a one-to-one session with me. That's just included with the price. So this could be how we use our time, pinpointing what your project could be. But I want you to have a think about this between now and the time we talk. I want it to be a problem that's bugging you, so that when you're done and that project is finished, you can look back and you think, my God, that course was the best money I've ever invested. And I want you to think, my God, I'm an absolute legend, meaning you're an absolute legend, of course, not me. Well, I am too, because I helped you. If you have any other questions about today, please email them to me. Give me a call, and I'll help you. All right? The accountability for this week is, again, to plan and schedule your plan in your calendar, do a screenshot, save it to Dropbox. This week also you need to complete your post questionnaire. The post questionnaire is in the pre-questionnaire, but what I will do is I will include it also. I know, actually, I've got that that's one of the tools that is on the page where the video is. So it's there for you to complete. Compare your pre and posts. Have you seen improvements? Are there improvements? There definitely should be. And ask yourself, what's next? So I need you to review, reset, and get started. Book a time to speak with me. I'll be emailing you, letting you know when I'm available. So I'll email availability to you. When you are done, email me to say that all your accountabilities are in your Dropbox folder and where to send the money to. And that's it, we're done. I hope we're not done completely. I hope we continue to work with each other from here. But that is it for today's call. Our next call next week is about delegation, the 8-step process every delegator needs to know. How exciting is this title? You can see why I have a marketing mentor. The call is, oops, I should also have somebody proof my PowerPoints before I release them. The call is going to be on Friday the 7th of October. Hoping you have enjoyed the program. Till I hear from you next, I wish you every success. Have a great weekend. I'm off to Fremantle now with my family. We're off to the Swan Valley tomorrow. If you don't know where that is in Perth, it's a wonderful part of the world. I'm hoping that you have a great week, or you had a great week, and I'll be in touch next week with the call details for you. Look out for the email with the recording of this call, the availability of times, and the other tools that we went through today. I'll talk to you soon. Thanks for being here. Bye.